Today, we're diving into the really powerful ideas from mathematician and author Cathy O'Neil's book, The Shame Machine. And it asks this one radical question. What if that pit in your stomach feeling of shame isn't actually your fault at all? So the author's whole journey into this topic, it started with this moment of what she calls shame shock. Picture this. She's celebrating a huge step toward her math PhD, and she goes to her local corner store to buy ingredients to bake some cookies. And the clerk, a guy who had always been super friendly, just looks at her flour, sugar, and chocolate chips and says those exact words. It's this raw, personal kind of humiliation that, unfortunately, I think a lot of us can relate to. But that awful experience sparked something deeper. O'Neil started wondering, who gave that clerk that idea? Who taught him that shame? And more importantly, who profits from it? And that simple question just reframes the entire problem, doesn't it? It suggests that maybe shame isn't just some internal feeling, but an external weapon, a tool used by powerful systems for their own gain. And that leads us straight to the core concept of the book, the shame machine. So let's break down exactly what O'Neil means by that. What's so wild is just how broad this definition is. A shame machine isn't just one single thing. It can be an entire industry, a company, or, get this, even the code that runs your social media feed. The key ingredients are always the same. It finds a vulnerability you have, makes you feel absolutely terrible about it, and then, conveniently, offers you a product or a service or maybe just a feeling of superiority as the solution. Now, to really get how these machines work, we need this one crucial framework: punching down. That's the classic shame machine move. It targets people for things they can't easily change, like their body, their poverty, their identity. It's all about shaming the powerless. But punching up, well, that's different. That's about accountability. It's calling out powerful people or institutions for their actions and their choices. And that distinction right there is the key to telling healthy shame from toxic, profitable shame. Okay, so let's see this whole concept in action. We're going to start with one of the oldest and, frankly, most effective shame machines out there, the weight loss industry. $72 billion. Let that sink in. That is how much money is made every year by convincing people they should be ashamed of their bodies. This is not some small niche market. It is a massive economic engine that literally runs on a single powerful emotion. It doesn't actually cure obesity. It grows right along with it. So for $72 billion, you'd expect some pretty incredible results, right? Well, not exactly. According to Weight Watchers' own research, their 5-year success rate is a measly 16%. And here's the industry's dirty little secret. Success is defined as keeping off just 5% of the weight you lost. So if you lose 20 pounds and gain 19 back, guess what? You're still counted as a success story. The business model isn't built on success. It's built on failure, on getting repeat customers. Okay, put on your, as the author says, bullshit detectors for this one. Take the app Noom. They love to boast that 78% of their customers lost weight. Sounds amazing. But if you look closer, their study only included users who actively logged their data for 6 straight months. So what about everyone else who signed up, got discouraged, and quit? Poof. They just weren't counted. That's a classic statistical trick called selection bias, and it's designed to sell a formula that for most people just doesn't work. And then you have the pure spectacle. Shows like The Biggest Loser, they aren't just about shaming the contestants on screen with these brutal, unsustainable diets. They're also about the audience at home. Watching someone who is much heavier struggle allows viewers to feel, as O'Neil puts it, svelte and virtuous just by comparison. It's this really cruel deflection of shame. And no surprise, a study found that nearly all the contestants' metabolism slowed way down, and most of them regained the weight. Now, as destructive as these old industrial machines are, what happens when you combine that same impulse with the incredible speed and scale of the internet? Well, that's when shame goes viral. This is the story of a woman O'Neil calls Joanna McCabe. She had a spinal condition and used one of those motorized carts. One day, at Walmart, the cart tipped over, and someone just snapped a photo. That private moment of pain was posted to a mocking website. Then it got amplified across Reddit and Facebook, where literally millions of people ridiculed her. A personal moment of humiliation became a global public spectacle in 4 easy steps. That is networked shame. And it is so crucial to understand this. This isn't an accident. It is the business model. Social media platforms aren't designed for empathy or nuance. They are designed for one thing: Engagement. And what drives engagement better than almost anything else? Outrage. Shaming someone, getting indignant, it just lights up the reward circuits in our brains. The platform's algorithms learn this, and so they feed us more conflict, more outrage, and more shame because it keeps us clicking. And those clicks, that's what they sell to advertisers. But shame isn't always a destructive force. Remember that framework we talked about? When you flip it on its head and use it for good, it becomes a powerful tool for accountability. This is the power of punching up. So let's just consider the scenario from the Jim Crow era. A black woman walks into a whites-only restaurant and is told to leave. She is being shamed for her identity, for who she is, something she cannot change. She's powerless in that situation. This is a classic, brutal example of punching down. Now contrast that with this incident. In 2018, the White House press secretary Sarah Sanders was asked to leave a restaurant. The key difference here is all about power and choice. Sanders wasn't shamed for her identity. She was held accountable for her actions as a powerful public official who was defending some really controversial policies. The restaurant owner was shaming her for what she does. That is punching up. And this strategy of punching up has led to real, tangible change in the world. Think about it. The #EndSARS movement in Nigeria shamed a corrupt police unit into reform. The #MeToo movement held powerful men accountable for their actions. Activists successfully shamed Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family for their role in the opioid crisis, and that led to lawsuits and their name being stripped from museums. In every single case, punching up became a tool for justice. So once you have this framework in your head, the shame machine, punching down versus punching up, you really do start to see it everywhere. If you take just one thing away from this explainer, let it be this. That feeling of shame you might have about your debt, your body, your addiction, your poverty, so often it is not a personal failing. It is a product manufactured and sold to you by a machine that profits from you feeling bad about yourself. And just recognizing the machine, that is the first step to taking away its power. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you can see the blueprint, take a look at your own life. Who's transmitting shame to you? And maybe more importantly, who's getting rich from it?